Okay, calling the 9:59 decision making to order. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links on the live and on-demand video page of our website. In the unlikely event we have to abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, the committee will convene to discuss any outstanding business Thursday, March 28th, 9:44 in this room. This is decision making. No oral testimony will be taken for these measures. If you're interested in reviewing the written testimony, please go to our website. You will find a link on the status page for the measure. Okay, first item is House Bill 1911. For House Bill 1911, the Senate draft proposes an operating budget for all means of financing totaling $204,918,173, including general funds totaling $192,140,976 for the judiciary. Highlights include converting one court operations specialist position from temporary to permanent, adding 2 janitor positions and $104,808, transferring in $126,364 for the administration and operation of the community outreach court project, adding $205,296 to restore the salary for 1 district court family judge, adding $137,200 as recurring for the Olelo program. Okay, any discussion? If not, recommendation is to pass the amendments. No, Chair votes aye.
Chair, on passing the amendments HB 1911, Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Aquino.
Aye.
Senator Floyd. Aye. Senator Hashimoto.
Aye.
Senator Inoue.
Aye.
Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Senator Kidani.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Senator Kakai.
Yes.
Senator Bella.
Aye.
Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. You guys don't have to stick around. It's gonna be long. We have questions for all the departments.
Well, now that they're gone, we can change
Yeah.
the.
Okay, adjourning that 9:59 agenda, and then we're just gonna wait for a couple minutes. Calling to order the 10 a.m. agenda. This is item House Bill 1800. Recommendation is going to be passed with amendments. So for discussion purposes, I'll begin. The recovery and response to August 23 wildfires, we have 164 million from department funds from the major disaster fund from all other departments, 30 million from the governor's discretionary fund, and totaling almost 200 million to cover expenses in fiscal year 24. However, costs have quickly escalated primarily for non-congregate sheltering. Contract with the American Red Cross was 200 million in August, 300 million in September, 400 million in November, and now 500 million in February 24. This contract and the governor's decision to provide extended sheltering for FEMA ineligible households beyond the safe harbor period is continuing to increase costs to the state. In February 29, Ways and Means info briefing, BNF informed the committee that it would be transferring 5% hard restrictions on department budgets to the major disaster fund to help cover this shortfall. On March 5th, in the governor's message, Governor requested an additional 297 million in fiscal year 24 to cover NCS for households that may be FEMA ineligible, and 65 million for the state share of the One Ohana Trust Fund. However, without a clear housing plan that has been communicated to the ledge that moves households out of NCS, the administration has not set forward a plan to fund non-congregate sheltering beyond June 24. If congregate sheltering continues beyond June, it seems the state will have to cover 100% of the cost for FEMA ineligible households if families are not transitioned into temporary and permanent housing options. The Senate is moving House Bill 1800, the budget bill, and House Bill 679 and House Bill 2610 to show a full picture as possible of what the administration has requested in relation to the August 23 wildfires. House Bill 679 reflects what the additional funds are being requested as emergency appropriations for fiscal year 2024. House Bill 2610 reflects the additional appropriations being requested for fiscal year 25. Senate Bill 582 and Senate Bill 3068 also moved to the House as potential funding vehicles. Spending the wildfire response and recovery should be transparent. House Bills 679 and House Bills 2610 will include reporting requirements so the public knows how state funds are being spent. The Senate is funding the appropriations requested from the administration through governor's messages and bills. The administration, through multiple Ways and Means info briefings, have repeatedly stated that they have a temporary housing plan that will successfully transition households out of non-congregate sheltering without additional cost overruns. Before we go into highlights of House Bill 1800 SD1, I want to thank the Ways and Means Vice Chair, Senator Moriwaki, Senate leadership, subject matter chairs for their bold and courageous leadership as we address complex statewide issues, the WAM committee, and the Ways and Means staff. House Bill 1800 is a culmination of many hours of dedication and diligent effort by this body to identify opportunities for strategic appropriations across the state within the areas of emergency preparedness, recovery and resiliency, workforce development and education, economic development and infrastructure, agriculture, environment and natural resource management, and housing and homelessness. The Senate had the daunting task of developing the state budget while addressing the immediate and future needs associated with the Maui wildfire recovery efforts. Without a clear and articulated plan from the administration, this body has worked diligently with various stakeholders to align the state's position to support the wildfire survivors and the future development of West Maui. I want to thank each and every one of my colleagues, as well as the cabinet members, for your strategic collaboration as we face this challenge. The Senate budget supports a responsive, proactive, and cost-effective state government to stabilize essential services and programs and to address the needs of our most vulnerable residents, and to ensure a financial future that the state be faced with another unforeseen disaster. In this budget, we deployed a number of strategies to provide immediate costs, to effectuate legislative policies, and to increase long-term efficiencies. These strategies include reducing vacant positions vacant for more than 4 years, vacancies recommended be abolished by DEFER as required by Act 57, 2019, trade-off funds for building lease rent to make non-recurring to help minimize the lease office space pursuant to Section 40-14 HRS and to better align with telework policies, and adding salaries for new and vacant positions with a 6-month delay in hire. Also adding funds for utilities as non-recurring, including electricity, to help meet our energy goals pursuant to Section 269-92 HRS. The Senate draft proposes an operating budget for all means of financing totaling $19,999,424,059, including general funds totaling $10,323,624,848. The highlights from our draft include the following. For Department of Agriculture, increase the animal quarantine special fund ceiling by $733,776 for IT improvements for the animal integration system, adding $1 million for the Farm to Food Bank program, adding $1 million for the Bucks program, increasing the trust fund ceiling by $93,434 for a grant writer salary, and adding $52,500 as non-recurring for critical software upgrades. For the Department of Accounting and General Services, adding 2.5 million for Microsoft G5 licenses. Adding 1,650,000 to replace the state's financial system. Adding 400,000 for menstrual products and dispensers. Adding $1 million as non-recurring for increase in electricity costs. Adding 470,000 for telecommunications, radio site leases, maintenance and operations, and adding 17 million for the state risk management revolving fund. For the Department of the Attorney General, adding $2,456,750 for the career criminal and victim witness assistance programs, adding 4 positions and $693,375 for the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission, adding 4 positions and $336,800 for the Civil Recoveries Division, and adding $266,648 for the Criminal Justice Division. For the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, adding 30 positions and $63 million for the Hawaii Tourism Authority, increasing the Convention Center Special Fund ceiling by $45 million for deferred maintenance, adding the Aloha Stadium Special Fund ceiling, increasing the Aloha Stadium Special Fund ceiling by $49,500,000 for operations and development, adding 2 positions and $230,230 for property and water system management on Kauai, increasing the Creative Industry Special Fund ceiling by $475,000 for state and county MOAs. For BNF, increasing the Unclaimed Property Trust Fund ceiling by $4 million for disbursements and payments, adding $13,356,620 for broadband federal matching, and adding $126,000 for the procurement of a case management software for the Office of the Public Defender. For DCCA, increased special fund ceiling by $1,175,000 for increase in operating costs, increasing the special fund ceiling by $2.5 million for website redesign and call center, increasing the special fund ceiling by $550,000 for cloud migration and data center closure. For Department of Defense, adding $6,919,624 for hazard mitigation and $24,700,000 in matching federal funds, adding $1,430,900 for utilities costs at Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam, Kauai, and Kalailoa, adding $497,000 as non-recurring for the utilities at Hawaii Army National Guard facility statewide, adding $139,909 for the state warning point and sirens, and $7,000 for utilities at Starbase. For Department of Education, adding $12,931,380 for weighted student formula to support English learners, adding $413,915 for AP exam and course subsidies, adding $3,600,000 to provide work-based learning for students with severe disabilities, adding $20,990,000 for summer learning hubs, adding $15 million as non-recurring for electricity, adding $5 million for security, adding $18 million for non-recurring for food services, adding $18,266,346 for bus contracts, adding $10 million for workers' compensation, adding $14,925,959 for collective bargaining for vice principals and educational assistants, adding $2.5 million for career and technical education teacher differentials, and adding $1.7 to enhance the department's mobile platforms and provide student mental health support. For the Office of the Governor, we're reducing 2 vacant positions and $176,816. Department of Hawaiian Homelands increased the federal fund ceiling by $808,204 for 6 temporary Native American Housing Assistance and Self-Determination Act positions. For Department of Human Services, adding a net total of $213,977,151 in non-general fund ceiling increases for federally mandated services. Adding $15,525,000 for home and community-based service and contract increases. Adding $1.9 $1,320,000 for a 5% increase to homeless programs office contracts. Adding $1 million for youth mental health services, adding $543,677 for maintenance and operation of the benefits eligibility solution system, adding $1.5 million as non-recurring for the state rent supplement program, adding 2 positions and $252,360 to put the deputy director and private secretary into the base. For Department of Human Resources Development, adding 7 positions and $872,112 to expedite the hiring process and increase recruitment efforts, which I hope are going to help all of you. Adding 1 position and $35,508 for the employee benefits and telework program, and adding $20,000 for employee training. Adding 1 position, $252 in fiscal year 24. Sorry, transferring 1 position and $260,352 in fiscal year 24, and 1 position and $262,116 in fiscal year 25 for workers' compensation services for the Hawaii State Public Library System. For Department of Health, adding $29 million for the emergency aeromedical services, adding $14,800,000 as non-recurring for bed contracts for Hawaii State Hospital, adding $13 million as non-recurring for locum tenens contracts at the Hawaii State Hospital, adding $10.8 million for child and adolescent mental health contracts, adding $8,880,000 for new and existing group home contracts, adding $6,657,400 for the EVLA Behavioral Health Crisis Center and Supportive Housing Services, adding $4,962,487 for early intervention services, adding $2,878,240 for the EMS collective bargaining contracts, adding $2.5 million for Kinauhale asbestos remediation and professional services, adding 10 forensic psychologists, and $971,119 for court evaluations for the Hawaii State Hospital admissions and referrals, and adding 1 plumber and 1 general laborer and $61,278 for the Kalaupapa settlement. For Department of Law Enforcement, adding 50 FTE and $6,567,591 to increase law enforcement at airports and harbors, adding $2.6 million to continue security guard services and security camera monitoring, adding $1.5 million for law enforcement training center, adding $1,265,600 to continue the illegal fireworks task force, and adding $825,000 for the gun buyback program. For Department of Labor, we'll be adding the $10 million for GIAs. We'll also increase revolving fund ceilings by $500,914 to provide pay equity for 3 boiler inspectors, increase federal fund ceilings by $2.2 million for unemployment insurance, increasing special fund ceiling by $300,000 for labor law enforcement special fund, and increasing federal fund ceiling by $200,000 for Veteran Careers Center, Veteran Career Counseling. For DLNR, we're adding $5.5 million as non-recurring to improve forest and resource management for wildlife and invasive species, increasing the state's parks special fund ceiling by $2 million as non-recurring for equipment and motor vehicles, increasing the state park special fund by $10 million for repair and maintenance activities at state parks statewide, and adding 7 positions and $484,448 for DLNR HR recruitment and retention. For corrections and rehab, we will be adding $50,000 to establish a foster pet program, and adding $434,864 as non-recurring for utilities across the facilities. For DOTAX, we'll be adding one senior software developer and $63,096. Adding 98,000 for security equipment and vehicle contracts, and adding $11,800 for the multi-factor authentication system. For DOT, we'll be adding $5 million for stored property and debris removal, increasing special fund ceiling by $8 million to renovate airport terminals, increasing special fund ceiling by $3 million for roadside safety maintenance, increasing special fund ceiling by $1,250,000 for Google safety analytics. For the University of Hawaii, we'll be adding $17,526,848 as non-recurring to restore funds from COVID, adding 5 positions and $506,555 for CTAR extension agents, adding 6.5 positions, $1,068,821 for nursing collaboration between UH Manoa and UH West Oahu, adding 4 positions and $925,000 for the enhancement of Neighbor Island Health Access and Pathway Program, adding 4 positions and $1,208,020 for increased campus safety, and adding $3.7 million as non-recurring for the Promise Program for UH Community Colleges. So again, I want to thank the departments, the committee, Senate leadership, other subject matter chairs, and most of all the staff. So any further discussion? If not, Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on HB 1800, passed with amendments. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Akino.
Aye.
Senator Boyd. Aye. Senator Hashimoto.
Aye.
Senator Inoue. Aye. Senator Newhouse.
Aye.
Senator Kitani.
Aye.
Senator Tim. Aye. Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Shimobuko. Aye. Senator Kai.
Yes.
Senator Fidel. Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. And then I don't think all of you want to be here for the hearing. So I'll adjourn this, give everyone about a minute, and then we can call to order the 10:01 agenda.
You're busy.
We're here to something other members. Yes.
Bags are on fire.
But she- Reconsider, no.
Oh,
Okay, calling to order the 10:01 agenda. Okay, this meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links on the live and on-demand video page of our website. We have to end this hearing. If we have to end this hearing due to the technical difficulties, we'll reconvene on Thursday, March 28, 9:44 in this room. Public notice will be posted. For those testifying remotely, please stick to 1 minute, which we'll be enforcing so that we can hear from all testifiers. Timer should be visible. If we have any technical glitches, we'll be moving on to the next person. However, we do appreciate your understanding and we have your written testimony. Okay. First item, House Bill 679. We have HHFBC. Thank you. Office of the Governor. BNF.
Chair, Vice Chair members, let's all here again have to attend our.
Thank you. HTDC. Thank you. Attorney General.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Deputy Attorney General Randall Nishiyama for the Department of the Attorney General. The amendments in the proposed Senate Draft 2, if adopted, would implicate the League of Women Voters case regarding the germaneness issue. So the amendments would require 3 additional readings in each house. And we'll be here to answer any questions that you may have regarding this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. So members, that's part of the reason why we're hearing it early. Okay, Department of Ag. Comments, DLNR.
Morning, Chair and Vice Chair, Don Chang on behalf of the Department of Land and Natural Resources. Please stand on our witness.
Thank you. DHS.
Morning, Chair, Vice Chair, good evening, members, Joseph Campos, that is directly here on behalf of Director Kathy Betts. We stand on our administrative testimony, providing comments, and we refer them to the Department of Corrections.
Thank you. HTA.
Chair, Vice Chair, Committee, there is now open for a group of authority. Cannot written testimony.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify? Okay, next item, House Bill 2610. HHFDC. Thank you. DNF.
Chair, the department also have a testimony in support.
Thank you. Hawaii State Hazard Mitigation Forum.
Hello, this is David Kennard. I want to stand by the written testimony submitted, but I'm available if you have any questions about the fund for the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. Thank you.
Thank you. Haima.
Morning, Chair, Vice Chair, I just staff support the call.
Thank you. And we have 4 other testifiers in support that are not registered to testify. Anyone else wishing to testify? Okay, if not, we can go straight into decision making. So for House Bill 679, a recommendation is going to be to pass with amendments. We have a proposed SD2 with the following amendments. Amending the appropriation in section 4 from 923 million to 297 million. Amending the lapse date in section 4, so the appropriation lapses on June 30, 2024. Requiring the state auditor to audit all contracts covered by the appropriation section in section 4. Inserting a reporting requirement for the governor to inform the legislature 14 days prior to the transfer and submit a report to the legislature within 5 days of each transfer of funds. Inserting a provision in section 8 that upon the closure of one Ohana Bank trust account, the remaining balance after the settlement of all administrative costs shall be returned to the contributors to the One Ohana Bank trust account in proportion to their contributions, with the state's proportionate contribution being returned to the general fund. Inserting a new part to insert language from Senate Bill 3072 that allows federal reimbursements to be deposited into the Major Disaster Fund, provided that all funds shall lapse back to the general fund on June 30, 2026, and effecting the date to 2050. Any discussion? Not Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye, Senator Aquino.
Aye.
Senator Floyd. Aye. Hashimoto.
Aye.
Senator Inoue. Aye. Senator Kaluuya.
Aye.
Senator Kidani.
Aye.
Senator Kim. Aye. Senator Lee. Excuse. Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Senator Aye. Excuse. Senator Pavel.
Aye.
Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, House Bill 2610. Recommendation is to pass with amendments. We're adopting the proposed SD2 with the following amendments. Per testimony, adopting HHFDC's language to amend the CIP appropriation in section 21 to reflect the 40 million and 75 million and correcting the revolving fund ceiling amount. Amending the reporting requirement in section 7 to also require the governor to notify the legislature 14 days prior to the date of any transfer, and requiring the state auditor to audit all contracts covered by appropriations in section 7. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
April 26, 10, all members present, anyone voting no, anyone with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you.